wanted to show you the Garter Tab Cast On, which is something that is often used to start top-down shawls, like this little sample that I have here. What you do is you cast on 3 or 4 stitches. For my sample, I'm working with 4. And then I knit 8 rows. And you can see my little area here. This is it. This is my cast on. My little garter tab is right here. So I knit my 8 rows, and I turned the work 90 degrees clockwise. I picked up and knit 4 stitches along the side of my work, and then I turned it clockwise 90 degrees again and picked up 4 stitches along my cast on edge. And then from there I was able to begin my pattern. Here are my increases along the edge. I have my edge stitches here, and then here's the center increases of the shawl. So I'm just going to cast on 4 stitches because that's how I like to start mine. A lot of times you'll see 3 stitches cast on. Now I'm just going to knit in plain garter stitch for 8 rows. So there's 1, this will be 2, so I won't bore you with making you watch me knit 8 rows of garter stitch here, so I'll come back when I have my 8 rows done and show you what to do next. Okay, so I have my 8 rows of garter stitch here, and instead of turning like you normally would in knitting, I'm going to leave it on this side of my work. Here's my working yarn right here. And I'm just going to turn it like this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up and knit 4 stitches along this edge. And what I do, and I think most people do, is you pick up in these little bumps here. And you don't have to be exactly perfect with this, just put your needle in somewhere in that little bump. Grab your yarn. So that's 2 stitches there. This is 3. And now here's 4. Can be a little tricky, but again, doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so now I have 8 stitches on my needle, and again I'm going to turn, and now I'm going to pick up 4 stitches along this edge. This is my cast on edge. And another way that you could be working this garter tab cast on is to have done a provisional cast on, and so when you would get to this point you would rip out your waste yarn, so you would have your live stitches here, and then you would just pick those up. But I find that for me it's really fiddly to do that. It's just much faster and easier for me to pick up and knit the stitches along this edge instead of messing with scrap yarn and all that baloney. So just try to pick up as evenly as you can along this edge. This is such a small part of the knitting. If it's a little bit imperfect, nobody's going to know. So there's 1, 2, oh, try again, 2. I'm going to go right here for 3. might find a crochet hook helpful here. And my last stitch, I'm just going to grab this right here. And come on. There we go. Okay. So I now have 12 stitches on my needle if I did this correctly. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, and then you would just be ready to begin knitting as your pattern tells you to do. You might work a plain row across, you might immediately begin increases, but you would just follow the instructions in your pattern. And that's the Garter Tab Cast On.